Real random. It's been a while since I had Teddy Grahams. I just tried them again recently. I'm back addicted to these, man. I have to get the single packs, otherwise I would demolish a whole box.
I never be eating this, and I try it. I like it.
It's not too sweet,
Yeah,
but it is delicious. I see why kids be fighting over this, man. It's real.
Hi, I'm Gabi.
I'm KD.
I'm from Brazil,
I'm from the US.
and today,
We're eating Teddy Grahams.
but also,
We're gonna be comparing the price of various things in the US versus Brazil. The reason is, man, these are good. Even though is that there are a lot of things that cost either a lot more in the US than they do in Brazil or a lot less. Generally, there's a stigma that everything in the US is much, much cheaper. We're gonna look at the numbers on that, see how the facts play out. I've looked up on a website different items that are used to calculate cost of living. So it's an average of everywhere in the United States versus everywhere in Brazil and see how those prices line up. And then actually go into specific items and see how those items compare. I'll look up for US and she'll look up for Brazil.
okay,
All right.
let's see.
The first category on the list compares restaurants or food prices. It looks from the graph that everything definitely more expensive in the United States than it is in Brazil, even taking into account the currency exchange rate. The average price for a combo meal at McDonald's in the US is $9.28. That seems to be a little bit on the high side, but I am in the South and this is the average of the United States, so I'm pretty sure this is like considering that how big Los Angeles, Miami, New York are. So $9 could be about right if you get it large.
In Brazil, it's like a Big Mac, the number one. And you can definitely find in Brazil for 36 reais.
With the
yes.
conversion, you're looking at about $6.30. It seems like things are cheaper in Brazil.
Debatable, but I would say majority of people would think that, man, McDonald's fast food would be very, very cheap in US, but it's not exactly like that, especially that price probably is not considering the taxes. Depending on the state that you are, the taxes be less or more.
Just so you people in Brazil who don't know the conversion rate, $9.28 is about 46 reais.
Yeah.
They also talk about the bottle of Coke, 11 ounces is $2.25 is about how it is. Now I remember in high school, I used to be able to get a can for 50 cents and a bottle for about $1. Now they're saying on here it's $2.25 and I can attest that that's about true.
The big bottle or the small bottle?
Not the liter. 2 liter is the big bottle. I'm talking about like the smaller bottle about this size that you can get in like a vending machine.
Ah, okay.
Plastic bottle.
I think that type of bottle, how much they say in Brazil?
They say it's about $1.
5 reais.
5 reais.
Yeah, I would say it's like less than 10. It's another thing, I think people that don't live in US, because I thought about that. It's a lot of factors considering inflation, the economy is not being the best economy ever. Brazil, we always think and grew up with this type of mentality that every little thing in US will be cheaper than Brazil, but it's not exactly about that, especially when we are talking about food.
Next is groceries. In the United States, I think it's clear groceries are definitely more expensive. Here they're saying that on average, bread is $3.17. That's probably like around 17 reais, I think. Cheese is $5. Milk, $3.83, eggs $4, boneless chicken $5.32, that's generous. 1 pound of apples $2.19, bananas 76 cents, oranges is $1.93, tomatoes $2.05, potatoes $1.29, onions $1.27. And do these prices look right for Brazil?
Yeah, I think so. No, eggs is cheaper than what they are saying, because especially if you live in the suburbs, I'm talking about Rio de Janeiro, when normally they have the egg car. And normally they say it's like 30 eggs, 10 reais.
30 eggs for dog.
I don't know, because when I left Brazil, it was 2021. I know for sure prices going high, but I don't think that is more than, I would say 30 eggs. Reais.
Clearly everything is much, with the exception of like things like milk. I think milk is about the same.
A gallon, I don't know how much a gallon is. 2 liters?
1 gallon is almost 4 liters. It's 3.7.
1 liter, around 6-7 reais.
So that's about right. And that's about the same price. So yeah, but everything else is like way more expensive. The next one has a surprising category, and you may want to fact check this, but transportation. So the first category is the interesting one to me. 1 gallon of gas on average in the United States is $3.72, 4.9 per liter. 4 reais.
Yeah, okay. Right now, the gasolina in Brazil is 5.74 per liter.
This is off a little bit, but this is the average of all Brazil. It's definitely cheaper in the U.S. I am not debating that. It's cheaper in the U.S. It was shocking to me that it is cheaper in the U.S. I wonder how much does natural gas, so because in Brazil, y'all use propane.
It's not everybody, but
not everybody.
I
wonder how much that factors into everything, and the fact that there are no big cars like that in Brazil, but it's shocking. I thought gas was most expensive in the U.S.
GNV is the gas, natural gas is 4.67.
So about the same.
It's a little bit cheaper than gas, but it's not a lot.
Not a lot.
No. I think it's very wild because we have resources in Brazil, and we have our own company, it's Petrobras, but they set up the price of the gas in Brazil according with the dollar. It's wild. So if dollar is high, gas is high.
Other categories they show in transportation is clearly cheaper in Brazil. So monthly transit, and she debases the high end even here, but monthly public transit they have is $215 for a car cost. So a Volkswagen Golf 1.4, 19,000 in US dollars, which is 98,000 reais, and it's 25,000 in the United States. And then a taxi trip in a downtown area, I have no clue what that's like, $7.69 or 38 reais, and in the US is about $16.
It really depends where do you live in Brazil. Definitely public transportation can be very expensive because majority of the cities in Brazil, they don't have the monthly pass like in New York they have, or Atlanta, Washington, DC, big cities. No, it's like majority of the time you pay every time that you go to transportation, train, subway, buses. That's why I think it's much more than 200 reais every month.
Okay, all right, that's fair. Next section they have is housing. They say everything in the US is more expensive. Internet connection for 50 megabytes per second. I would never, no diss to anybody that has that, but internet connection for 50 megabytes per second, $19, which is 98 reais, and in the US is $70. That is true.
$70?
$70.
Damn. In Brazil, I had the most expensive one. It was 150 something reais. And if you combine the internet, because they're the same brand,
right,
internet, phone, and cable, it was 220 reais.
Same thing in the US. It's kind of hard to really say what the internet exactly is because they want you to bundle everything together so it can seem cheaper than it actually is, or more expensive. A 1-bedroom apartment in a downtown area is $281, which is 1,396 reais, and in the US is $1,528.
As a rent.
I'm assuming that's what they mean.
Can be, depending on where do you live.
And then a 1-bedroom apartment outside the city is $182 or 902 reais. And then $1,282.
Can be.
Which can be. The ones here are probably maybe a little bit cheaper than that.
But it's Lagrange, so.
Utilities for 2 700 square foot apartments, so that's about 1 bedroom.
Electric, gas, water, heating.
$58 or 290 reais, and in the US is $138.81. Majority is all this is electric. For instance, here all those are bundled into one.
In Brazil, it's not like that because you have a different bill for each one. It's a different company.
That's what I was saying. It's different. So for me, that's all one bill. But in another apartment I lived in, you had water separate from electricity, but water and trash was still together. Electricity was another bill. And then there is no gas in this house. If I did have gas, it would be a separate. So it would be 3 different bills I pay.
Yeah, but definitely it's not 200 reais. Just the electric a bill can be 300 reais.
I think that's pretty much what they meant here.
Wow.
They're thinking majority just electric houses. That was maybe my electric bill when I had a 1-bedroom apartment in college. The next category they have is childcare, but we're going to skip that because
We don't have a child.
yeah. So we're gonna go to entertainment and sports, okay? So a domestic or local beer. In Brazil, it says it's $1.62, which is about 8 reais. And in the United States, it's about $5 for a pint,
It's half a liter that it
Yeah.
is? Okay,
One
half a
pint.
liter. Muito caro.
which is why I love Brazil. Cappuccino in mid-range area is $1.57 or 7 reais. In the US, $4.51. A pack of cigarettes is $2.32. Reais is 11 reais. $8.57. I don't smoke, but I know the prices, and that's
Smoke's very expensive in US.
Oh, yeah.
Drink too.
monthly membership at a local gym.
$20.
$23.14 or 114 reais. And then in the US it says $42.79.
Debatable.
An average, and we're not talking about Planet Fitness. And then a movie ticket to a theater is a $5.80 or 28 reais, and in the US is $12.
That looks right. In US, when you are a student, you pay half too?
Not necessarily. The only discounts that you get if you're a child, 12 years or younger, senior citizen, like 65 years or older, is cheaper.
Okay.
There's also a matinee. If you go before a certain time of the day, then the ticket is cheaper. But just because you're a student, no. Because I think that's covered in you being under 12 years old.
In Brazil, it's like, it doesn't matter. If you're a student, if you are 40 years old, you are in college, you pay half.
Okay.
Or until 21 years old, you pay half. If you're a kid, you pay half. If you are more than 65 years old, you pay half.
Who pays? Man, I would always be a student.
That's what some people say. And like, I'm not trying to finish my college because I want to keep paying half.
How do they validate that?
You have a type of student card,
I still have mine from Alabama.
so you can use that. No, you're kidding, because there is a due date.
The same people that made the passports got all the Brazilians to the US back in the 90s. They could change a year. Yeah, easy.
Some people do.
And the last section on this particular list is clothing, which majority of it says is more expensive in the United States, with the exception of one. A dress, a regular dress, is cheaper in the United States than it is in Brazil. So the prices as it goes. Levi's or Levi's, depending on how you pronounce it. $43 or 213 reais if it's Levi's, and $45 if it's Levi's. The dress is $40 or 202 reais, but in the United States it's only $36.73. Take away a good 15 reais off that. So about,
I would say more, but okay.
shoes, $70.61 or 349 reais. And in the US, it is $79.51. Business shoes, men's business shoes. It says $54 or $109 in the US, which is way different.
Buying clothes in US, dress, doesn't matter what, running shoes is cheaper than Brazil.
Oh, so you
period.
disagree with the list?
Period. Cheaper in the US, because what I was saying here is like you have better quality and better price comparing with the better quality in Brazil. I bought a running shoe here. It was $40 before, sometimes $30-ish, less than taxes. But it's like in Brazil, if I buy the same type of shoes in Brazil, it can be easy 500 reais. I'm not lying.
The shoes that you had, that the sole came off the first time I met you, those shoes, you're telling me 500 reais.
Almost.
Straight face. You're gonna look me in my face.
Yeah, I'm looking to your face.
500 reais.
Yes.
We're done here.
It's true. And the dress, I like the red dress that I bought. That dress was $10.
I know. Okay.
If I buy that dress in Brazil, it would be 300 reais.
Women's clothing in the United States has to be some of the cheapest clothing ever. I can't find a shirt under $15. So I agree with that. I don't agree with you on the shoes. I think that's a little bit biased there.
Okay.
You think you may have had your glasses off and the contacts off. I can see how certain brands of clothing, when you look at just brand for brand, that it can be more expensive in Brazil than in the US, because US has worked out these deals in order to import or produce the clothing locally in the United States. One last category, so electronics. One of the things that's definitely cheaper in the US than is Brazil. The cheapest PlayStation you can get right now is $450.
2,000-ish reais. In Brazil right now, if you buy a PlayStation, can be easy 3,600 reais.
Comes out to about $720 something, which is way more expensive. It's definitely cheaper. And then the iPhone 15 Pro Max we looked up is around $1,200 in the US, and in Brazil
12,000, 13,000 reais, depending on the size.
Which I think comes out to about a whole $1,000 more. There are definitely things that are cheaper in the US when it comes to something that is exclusive to the United States, but that's it.
Yeah, so I hope that you break a little bit your stigma or stereotype about prices in US, because yes, some items definitely is cheaper. How, like we said, the electronic stuff, makeup stuff, hair product stuff, that definitely is cheaper.
When it comes to general things like cost of living, food, things you need to live, more expensive in the US.
Of course, when you work here, you have your salary in dollars, but even your salary is not so big as you can think.
The key is to have the job in the US and live in Brazil, but have people that can ship you things from the US that aren't in Brazil.
Exactly, that's the key.
Yeah, that's the sweet spot. That's the sweet spot you want to be at.
Exatamente. So I really hope that you like this video, and if you like this video,
like the video,
subscribe to the channel,
turn on the notification bell.
And if you have more items that you think what is cheaper or more expensive in US or Brazil, let us know. Put here in the comments, okay?
All right.
See you in the next video.
See you.
Bye bye.
Ciao.
Kiss kiss.
Beijo.